and some major projects that are underway and that the Akufo-Addo administration will be embarking upon in its second term. I'll give you some details of that shortly. But also here with us this afternoon to give us a brief after his brief is the government statistician, Professor Enim, and he's here to speak to us about the census that is scheduled for later this year. I want to start by acknowledging some dignitaries, or a first batch of some dignitaries who are here with us this afternoon, and then I will give you some quick highlights of the very first brief. With us here this afternoon is the Honorable Mavis Nkansa Bwedu MP Efija Sechere East, Deputy Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. The Honorable Stephen Jalula, MP Pru West, is Deputy Minister Designate for the same sector. With us here this afternoon is Mr. Edmond Ofeano. He's an engineer. You know the engineers, they don't like you to mention their name without their title. So Engineer Ofeano, Chief Director, Ministry of Roads and Highways. Engineer Rita Ohinesafo, Director, PMP. Engineer Kobi Mensah, Director, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry. And we have heads of all their agencies that are also here with us this afternoon. And with us as well, the Member of Parliament for Etiwa West, Minister responsible for Roads and Highways. I like to call him my papa. He's the Honorable Kwesi Amoakwata. He'll be speaking to us this afternoon on a number of things going on in the roads and highways sector. But I just want to cue you before we go into his presentation. Among the things that he'll be speaking about will be three big announcements on programs in the sector. So today he will tell us the roads program, and I don't know whether the expression is how many or how much. I think it's how many. How many kilometers of roads that the Akufo-Addo administration has programmed to construct in the next 4 years, what we describe as the medium term. And perhaps while at that, how much of that he is dead sure can be completed in this period. And I think it's a very important announcement that we all should pay attention to. So how many kilometers of roads will the Akufo-Addo administration be constructing in the next 4 years? Is your road included? And how many of them can we finish in the next 4 years? I also understand that his presentation will also be dealing with what the bridges program is. So how many bridges does the administration intend to construct in the next 4 years? Is your bridge included? And how many are we going to complete in this period? How many are we dead sure will complete? And then again, I understand his presentation will also deal with interchanges. How many interchanges do we intend to construct within this 4-year period? Is yours included? And how many are we going to complete? My understanding is that these are some of the highlights of his presentation this afternoon. And when he's done, he will take your questions as well. So with your permission, please join me to invite the Honorable Minister responsible for Roads and Highways, the Honorable Kwesi Amoakwata, to deliver his presentation. And then I'll invite the government statistician, when we are done, to talk to us about the census.
Thank you, Honorable Minister for Information for the Sector, Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah. All of you have virtually been introduced, so let me stand on that protocol so that we save time. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, let me say good afternoon to all of you. I have been given virtually an hour by the Honorable Minister to go through the presentation, and thereafter, perhaps another hour for questioning time. Kojo, I don't know whether you do so for everybody or otherwise. I say that you have not been fair to me because, road sector is different, and if you were to give me the opportunity to talk about the road sector, what has been done under President Akufo-Addo's government, you should have given me something around 10 hours. Because there's a lot to talk about, but I have to comply, with the rules. So I will try as much as possible to work within the 1 hour period given to me. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, anytime I get this unique opportunity to talk about the road sector on behalf of the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, those of you who have been following me, and I know the press is critical and they have been following me wherever I go, I am fond of giving the basic statistics of the road sector, and I'm going to do so in a jiffy. Because it's important to remind ourselves, it is important to know where we are coming from before we can appreciate what has been done so that it could be put in a proper context. Members of the press, let me once more say that Ghana has a total road network size of 78,400 kilometers. That is, if you put all roads in our country together, trunk roads being managed by the Ghana Highway Authority, city roads being managed by the Department of Urban Roads, and rural roads being managed by the Department of Feeder Roads. In terms of length, if you put all of them together, we are dealing, as at January 7, 2017, something in the region of 78,400 kilometers. Out of this total kilometrage, ladies and gentlemen, 23, as at that time, had been paved. That's 23% had been paved, which runs up to something around 18,000 kilometers. The remaining 77% continue to be at either earth or gravel state, also working around something like 60,000 kilometers. The engineers will tell you about condition of road, and I've had the opportunity to work with them, the seasoned engineers that we have in our country and my ministry. I keep on learning from them each day. Condition of road is divided into 3 categories. Road is either good, fair, or poor. And as at that date, 7th January 2017, 39% of Ghanaian roads were considered to be good. 39%. 32% considered to be fair, and 29% considered to be poor. In terms of kilometrage, if you put them together, the 39% considered to be poor represents something around 30,500 kilometers. And if you combine fair and poor, as they are almost alike, we are talking about something close to 50,000 kilometers. That is to about 48, close to 50,000 kilometers. So the simple information is that more or around half, 50% of our roads, of the total kilometer, as aforementioned, of 78,400 kilometers, was considered to be in a terrible, poor, deteriorated state. This were the stark data, the stark statistics, the state of the road in Ghana that had been handed over to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And as a country, going by these statistics, over 60 or 64 years of independence, if we had done well for ourselves, the people of this country are better judges. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, I want to start my formal presentation by giving you the outline. I believe it's showing on the screen. Three major processes: introduction, then I will give you the major highlights between 2021 and 2024, and be referring to what had been done between 2017 and 2020. And under the major highlights, I will be dealing with the three broad categories of the road sector. That is the road program, that's the road itself, the bridges program, and the interchange program. And I will also take the opportunity before concluding to talk about the projects that are in the pipeline between now and 2024, which will mark the end of President Akufo-Addo's second term. Members of the press, my ministry works through departments and agencies. And the number 5: 1, Ghana Highway Authority; 2, Department of Federal Roads; 3, Department of Urban Roads; 4, Ghana Road Fund Secretariat; and 5, Training Center located at Koforidua, which trains our engineers and contractors, employees, and so on. We undertake development and maintenance activities generally. These are the core areas of the ministry, and whatever road infrastructure that is being worked on will fall under one of these three main categories. It may be developmental, or it may be routine maintenance or periodic maintenance. And if you talk about developmental activities, we are talking about construction of roads. It could be new, fresh roads that is being constructed. It could be reconstruction, an existing road that we want to improve. Sometimes it could be a feeder road and we want to improve upon it. And then major rehabilitation of our roads. This will also be an existing road that we want to improve significantly and do major activities on them. Apart from that, maintenance is a regular feature of our work. It goes on from January to December. It's in progress. We do routine maintenance, and routine maintenance activities cover things like pothole patching, grading, desilting, vegetation control, and maintenance of traffic lights. We keep close eye on the entire road sector when it comes to maintenance activities, because this would make the road motorable, particularly as we approach and pass through rainy season. The roads will have to be desilted. We have to patch potholes, and we have to maintain vegetation cover by cutting it, the vegetation that abut the roads. And then we do a more serious maintenance work that we term periodic maintenance activities, and this involves resealing. This involves re-graveling. Resealing, you could have a major road that has developed also major potholes. You will take steps to patch the potholes and then spread another bitumen on it, or even an overlay on it. We do re-graveling, we do asphaltic overlay, we do spot improvement. If you are running on any highway, you could come to a section that might have failed. The entire stretch of the road is good, but a section might have failed due to a number of reasons. The engineers will tell you either there is a material underneath or perhaps hidden water underneath, and you may see whilst driving that a section is demarcated, cut off, and being worked on. At times, some of these spot improvements and involve serious works to make sure that it's worked on for you to get smooth driving surface for the sake of homogeneity and uniformity on the road surface. We do partial reconstruction, upgrading, and minor rehabilitation. Let me quickly talk about the achievements made in the area of routine maintenance from 2017 up to 2020, the first term, and we have been generous enough because we are always up to date. My ministry is always up to date. So we have even included some figures for 2021. So you can see that generally we did a total of 130,671 kilometers of routine maintenance. And the figures are there for you to see what the agencies did. Department of Urban Roads did a little over 18,000. Department of Feeder Roads did a little, almost 50,000. And Ghana Highway Authority on our highways did almost 61,000 kilometers, adding up to 131,000 kilometers. That's by way of routine maintenance. Periodic maintenance, we did a total of 3,476 kilometers for same period. So from these two statistics, you can see how the government has kept close eye on the road sector, and work had continued throughout the first 4 years of President Akufo-Addo's government, COVID notwithstanding. Despite the COVID period of 2020 last year, that affected the whole world and affected every sector of every country's economy. I am happy to announce that because of the importance the government attaches to the road sector under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, construction continued generally, and the road sector construction never stopped even during the COVID period. That is a serious government for you, a serious government under a serious leadership, a serious president of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, I now want to take the major highlights, the programs that we are focusing on all this while, and I have said that the road sector essentially involves three main components, three main areas, three main categories: the road infrastructure, the bridges infrastructure, and the interchanges. We have programmed to do between 2021 and 2024 11,000 kilometers of road, out of which we are convinced and we are hopeful and we are confident that 6,000 would have seen total completion, and the remaining 4,000 would have been at different stages of completion, some of them substantial completion by 2024. This is the program for the road sector that has been put forward by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa's government. And let me remind you that between 2017 and 2020, we had done and completed 4,000 kilometers of road. If you come to bridges, we have programmed 200 bridges across the nation, and we have the statistics for each one of them. We have their age portfolios, we have their lengths, their width, and we know what is supposed to be done in each of these 200 bridges. We have tasked ourselves to complete at least minimum 120 out of these 200 by 2024. At least 120 together with the 50 that had been completed during the first term. Between 2017 and 2020, the ministry and the government completed 50 projects, some of them major, around the length and breadth of our country. And as programmed, we intend to do 200, and all these 200 will be started, but we will bring to full completion 120. So the 120 plus the 50 already completed, President Akufo-Addo would have completed 170 bridges across the country minimum, whilst the rest, as aforementioned, would have been at different stages of completion. You come to major highlights again, and we talk about interchanges. As at now, and during President Akufo-Addo's first term, as many as 9 interchanges took off simultaneously. 3-4 of them have gotten to substantial completion stage, and God willing, first week in July, His Excellency the President will officially commission the Pokuase interchange. It would have been brought to a total full completion. And this is a project that's got started from the scratch, from the very scratch, by President Akufo-Addo's government. And this is an interchange which is the first of its kind in West Africa, and the first, if you talk about the whole Africa, the second after the interchange at Durban in South Africa. Kote interchange in Durban, South Africa. This interchange will be open in full to traffic. Now we have started opening some sessions to traffic, but it will be open in full to traffic by the first week of July, when it's scheduled to be commissioned by His Excellency the President. So 9 interchanges during President Akufo-Addo's first term are running concurrently, and none of them has stalled and will not stall until it's completed. By the end of his second term, 20 interchanges in our country would have been built. We have estimated 25, But we are convinced and we are sure and we know what we are about because we have programmed whatever we are doing. 20 interchanges. The members of the press mark me down. Say by 2024, 20 interchanges are likely to have been fully completed. But we would have had and would have tackled as many as 25 interchanges in our country. This had never happened in any administration in our country since independence 64 years ago. This is a government that is focused. This is a government that knows what he is about. Members of the press, all the interchanges, the list, and all the rules I'm talking about, we have them. At the end of my presentation and at the end of the session, my chief director will make all these pieces of information available to you, and you can continue to critique it even after this session. We will give you the information. I will not refer you to go and see any book anywhere. So from the information and the document that I give to you, you are to ask questions. And I know we are running live. And any town that I mention, any information that I put up, if it's not true, anybody could call in for you to ask questions. And may God forbid that I will come and stand here representing His Excellency the President and the government to tell the good people of this country any story which is not true. May God forbid. I am taking the programs one by one, and the programs are listed. We have critical roads. Can you throw the... We have critical roads. We have cocoa roads. I am dealing first with the road program. I've told you I'll be dealing with the road program, then I'll be dealing with the bridges program, I'll be dealing with the interchanges program. I'm dealing with the road program. I want to be systematic so that you get the flow of the presentation. And the road program, I'll be talking about critical roads, I'll be talking about cocoa roads, town roads, asphaltic overlay, roads under Sano Hydro, donor programs, roads that come under other projects. And as listed, I will follow that chronology, so that you also follow me. I will take first the critical roads. We have done, as part of government year of roads, particularly 2020, we selected across all the 16 regions of our country 81 roads, totaling 2,167 kilometers. And when we did the costing, it will come to the region of 7.8 billion Ghana cedis. It touches every region. And the President declared a special session during the cabinet retreat where all regional ministers were invited. And that special session was chaired by no less a person than the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, an efficient, strong, intelligent Deputy Minister that we have in our country. He chaired it, and we picked critical roads from all the 16 regions of our country. You see how balanced our government is, and how we want to touch every sector, every region, and how we want to carry the entire country along with us without discrimination. And I have the list of all these critical roads, and as I have said, it will be given to you, members of the press, to interrogate. And the list is here. I'm showing you the list. All the 81 critical roads, they are here. Because I know I am telling you the truth. I am bold to provide prima facie evidence of whatever I say. It's here, and it will be given to you. And of course, for the sake of this presentation and the time limitation, I cannot go through all of them. But I have done something. I have listed some of the roads, and you can see that I have indicated against them region, length, and progress. This was done randomly. We picked them to assure you that every single region is covered. So you can run them. Critical roads, we have upgrading of Navrongo to Naga Road, and I've given the kilometerage over there, about 35 kilometers in the Upper East. Upper West, upgrading of Wa Bolinga Yala Road. We have upgrading of Daboya Mankaligo Road. Bruno region, we have rehabilitation of Atebubu Kwame Dansu Road. Ashanti, we are doing upgrading of Anyan Kwanta Obuasi Road. Eastern, we are reconstructing Osim Begro Road. It's at substantial completion, 95% completion. It's left with few things to be done, road furniture to be provided, and then we take over. Volta region, we are doing upgrading of Korokwati Road. Uti region, we are doing Nkonya Rampong, Kwame Krom Road, and so on. Western region, we are doing Teleku Bokaso to Nyinasi Road. Ahafo, we are doing Akrodie Sariresu Road, covering 20 kilometers, and western of we are doing Sehuyoso Akontombra Road. It continues, but like I said, lack of time, so I can't go through all of them. 2, let's look at Cocoa Rose. Under President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, 325 projects are currently ongoing simultaneously across cocoa growing areas in our country. This, by the time they are completed, we would have done almost 5,000 kilometers of road at a total cost of 14.5 billion Ghana cedis. And as I treated it in the case of critical roads, I have listed some of the cocoa roads across the country. But here, let me say that you may not find all the regions here, because you know the purpose and the rationale of the Cocoa Road project is being paid for by Cocoa Board and the Ministry of Agriculture. And it is their contribution to our country, and to say thank you to the farmers and the people at the cocoa, coffee growing areas. And of course, they have interest. They have interest, and you can't take it away from them. They want to work on those roads so that they'll be able to cut their cocoa. But whatever it is, they are helping the development of the road infrastructure in our country. So we also balance the road needs of our country. So if there are no cocoa in certain areas, but where we have them, Cocoa Board is helping, then it frees some resources also to go to other areas, so that we make sure that road development achieves equity, so far as our country is concerned. And we have a government that believes in equity. We have government that believes in equality. We have a government that believes in rule of law and believes in the fact that national resources must be shared equitably among the good people of this country. It wasn't so some time ago, but anytime our tradition is in government, we ensure equity and fair distribution of the national cake, and we will continue to do that, and the president will continue to do that. So you will see some of the roads. I've given you the regions where they are. I have even given the road projects, the names of the road projects, the length, and the percentage completion. You may find 1 or 2, 3 that have achieved 100% completion, but they are here. For instance, on slide 22, you may find Dodo Kope to Bolai Junction. It's completed 100%, but it's here. What it means is that it has not been handed over to the ministry, and for that matter, government. Then, once it's still in the hands of the contractor, the contractor also continues to bear the defect liability effect. And we also have the defect notification opportunity should anything go wrong on the road. Once we take it over, and it used to be 12 months defect liability period. Thereafter, government bears total liability for maintenance. Since last year, instruction and directive had been given that all contractors will bear 5-year defect liability period. And I've given that specific instruction on behalf of President Akufo-Addo and on behalf of government, because that is the standard of the World Bank. So that if you're a contractor, and I've said it elsewhere and I'm repeating it, so if you're a contractor and you don't construct the road by specification, and you do shoddy work, and I can tell you we have a number of excellent contractors in our country, comparable to any contractors anywhere in the world. But at the same time, I can't stand here as the sector minister that all contractors are good. I can't say so. So now we are moving it to 5 years defect liability period, because the 12-month defect liability, as it had existed all this while, gave a lot of people to slip through, because road, however poorly constructed, is likely to withstand whatever shock within 12 months. Then thereafter, government will be saddled with maintenance till their kingdom comes. We are changing it. That trend is changed. You construct road as a contractor, you keep it for 5 years. So if you do poor work, it will be on your head for 5 years. I moved to town roads. We are working on 88 different lots, and the lots represent projects of town roads across the country, giving us 563.3 kilometers with a total cost of a little around 1 billion Ghana cedis. Some of them have been completed. For instance, if you start from the north, Gambaga town roads have been completed. Narelugu town roads have been completed. Waliwali town roads have been completed. Upgrading of Pistia town roads at a very high percentage, 85%. I don't know, perhaps my engineers will allow me to say it's at a substantial completion stage. I don't know. But anytime, anything from 85, 90, 95, that's how they describe it. So, you can run through them. We are doing a lot of town roads across the length and breadth of our country. But again, let me repeat, you should bear in mind, it's not possible to list all these projects here. But we have them in the write-up. Here, we have just selected some of the roads. Okre town roads, we have gotten to 97% completion. Atebubu town roads, 55%. Bekwai town roads, 83%. Bibiani town roads, 75%. And so on. So we are dealing with a lot of town roads in our country. I move on to asphalt overlay. The government of President Akufo-Addo did 1,300 kilometers of asphalt overlay across the nation during his first term. 1,300 kilometers. And it has programmed to do even more, 1,500 kilometers between now and 2024. So, by the end of President Akufo-Addo's 8-year term, he would have done asphalt overlay close to 3,000 kilometers in our country, unprecedented, never seen in the history of this country. These are some of the pictures. So, all doubting Thomases. These are some of the pictures. And we have the list of the asphalt overlays done in our country. The 1,300 kilometers, I said it on the floor of Parliament, and some people wanted me to break it down to show them the evidence and to lay it on the floor of Parliament. I didn't even go to my office. I picked a phone and called, and they brought it to me, and I laid it on the floor of Parliament. What had been done, may God forbid that I represent the president and the government to tell Ghanaians what is not true. May God forbid. First time we did 1,300 kilometers of asphalt overlay, and the members of the press, I know you are critical, and you have to be critical. You have to take members of government on. Whatever anybody says, take us on. And we are not afraid, because we know we tell the good people of this country nothing but the truth. I will give you the full list, that total 1,300 kilometers. And after that, I will give you the list for the program that we have, which, God willing, and inshallah, by 2024, we are going to add another 1,500 kilometers of asphalt overlay. So those who haven't gotten their turn, they should have patience with us. One thing after the other. Chinese proverb, a distance of 1,000 kilometers starts with a step. It's unreasonable. It will be unreasonable for anybody to think that all these roads could be done simultaneously. Within 3 years, all these roads, the statistics that I have given, that 3 years, a government will be able to work on a total road network size of 78,400 kilometers within 3 years. That would be unreasonable on the part of anybody who thinks that way. And I know Ghanaians are reasonable, intelligent, sensible, rational people. So they understand. They know where we are coming from and what we are doing. President has said it a number of times, or time without number, that since 2017, anywhere he had the opportunity to visit, the first demand that was made on him, either from chiefs, traditional authorities, even school heads, even church leaders, everywhere, will be on roads. And if roads in this country had been fixed by successive governments in a serious, robust manner, as President Akufo-Addo has tackled it from independence 64 years ago, Ghana wouldn't have been in this state. We are focused, we have programs, we have plans, and my ministry, for that matter, government, will not be intimidated to shift from the programs that we have. I appeal to the good people of this country that they should see, and they have seen it, what is being done, the way the road sector is being tackled with courage and with seriousness. And those who haven't had their turn, very soon they will get their turn. Nobody has ever said, nobody from government has ever stood anywhere and said that all roads have been done in our country. No, nobody can say that. Neither has anybody said that we don't have bad roads in our country. We have bad roads in our country. I travel with His Excellency, the President, on a road to Hamile, a terrible road. And when we got to Hamile, on the platform, on the stage, I was privileged to sit next to him. And Ghanaians are listening to me. And I've already said that, may God forbid that I, Christian Makwata, drops anything from my lips. That is not true. I'm a Presbyterian. I'm a strong, proud Presbyterian. And I know what Presbyterian means to me. I'm a Presbyterian. On the platform, after driving on the Hamilton Road, terrible road, when we sat down, President beckoned to me and said, "Minister, did you see the road we traveled on, the towns, and the condition of the people?" I said, "Yes, Mr. President." He said, "When I was in my car, I felt like weeping." He said he felt like weeping when we were driving on that road. This is the President of the Republic. He said, that is why anywhere we go, I don't want to go with a helicopter. I want to experience and I want to drive on the roads. The President of the Republic was saying, I felt like weeping. I am directing you to work on that road. He said he felt like weeping, President of the Republic. Today, my engineers are here. That road to Hamile is done and brought to bituminous level. It was done by one of our best contractors in Upper West, Ghanem. PW Ghanem. Today, go and see that road. One after the other, all roads in Ghana will be fixed. But it will be unquestionable, it will be unreasonable for anybody to think that all roads could be done simultaneously at the same time. One after the other, roads will be fixed in this country, and we are on course. And we are fixing the roads robustly, and we are fixing quality roads for this country. Gone were the days that people were doing shoddy work and were using Ghanaian money to pay them. Today, it cannot happen. And under the watch of the government, under my watch, if any road is found to be shoddily done and certified by an engineer, both the contractor and the engineer will be taken on. And all my engineers are here. I respect each one of them, but I'm not afraid of any one of them. I respect each contractor in this country, and I am not afraid of any contractor in this country. And I have the moral courage to deal with any contractor and to deal with any engineer who delivers and supervises shoddy work for the good people of this country. And they know it. I tell them every day. And I have the moral courage to deal with each one of them. I want to assure the people of this country that road construction is going on strongly, systematically, and robustly. They should therefore ignore those who, because of political propaganda, are trying to talk about roads. I've said that if roads were tackled in a serious manner, as President Akufo-Addo is doing it now, Ghana would have finished constructing all roads. Perhaps what will be left will be the regular, routine, periodic maintenance. Again, under the Sano Hydro Master Project Facility, we are constructing road infrastructure, and we have first phase, second phase. And I believe every Ghanaian, even every child of this country, has heard of this Sano Hydro facility being championed by the government under the strong professional leadership of the Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia. This is a project that brought in $2 billion United States dollars to build infrastructure in our country for an exchange of bauxite in the future. This is great innovation, great thinking. That is why all the time people should vote for big dreamers and big thinkers. This has never happened anywhere, not only in our country, as it has never been heard of anywhere in Africa, but it happened under President Akufo-Addo's government and being championed by our illustrious son of this country, the Vice President, who is always together with the President and the government thinking around the box. And even if we come out with suggestions and ideas, you get people who will tell you that it won't work. We have had 500 million out of this, and 10 lots, the first 10 lots have been approved, and some have started. 4 of such projects are at various stages of completion. For instance, under the Lot 1, made up of 10 different projects, the Western and Cape Coast Inner City roads have gotten to 60%, Ashanti and Western Feeder roads 36%, rehabilitation of Jasikan to Dodo Pepesu 35%, and Sunyani Inner City roads have also started 5%. And as part of this first lot, we have the Tamale interchange and the Takrady interchanges. By the time we finish, we would have covered 441 kilometers of road and the Tamale interchange has gotten to a very high level percentage of completion. The remaining 4-6 projects will be started before Q3. That is Accra Inner City Roads, Kumasi Inner City Roads, dualization of Adenta Dodowa Road, and then rehabilitation of Ejumako to Afrensie Road. Other donor facilities, we are doing a number of projects. We are doing 3 lots in Upper West region, and sod was cut, I think 2 weeks ago. I had the privilege of representing the president to cut the sod together with the representatives, country representatives of World Bank and the European Union of this project, where we are going to work on 670 kilometers of feeder roads and farm tracks in Upper West region to boost agriculture. I think this will cost a total of something around 35 million euros, 35 million euros, and is being championed by the Department of Urban Feeder Roads. And the Feeder Roads Director is right here. Bernard Badu is here, and they were all with me in Wa. The money is there, so this work will not stop, and it's going to boost agriculture. So I'll be working closely on it with my colleague Minister for Agriculture, to ensure that it reaches completion. There are other donor projects, major ones, that are going on, like Kumasi Road and Drainage Extension Project, that's gotten to 69% completion. Rehabilitation of Asin Fosu, Asin Prasu. This is a grant covering a distance of 31 kilometers, a grant from the government and people of Japan through JICA. Has been undertaken by Sumuzi Construction. Sumuzi, that is the company that constructed the first phase of the Tema motorway roundabout. Efficient company, and they are on site as we speak now. Work is going on, and in a week's time from now, I'll have the privilege to visit them with my technical people. Work is going on everywhere in this country. So people should open their eyes and follow us and watch. President Akufo-Addo started fixing roads in Ghana in a very strong manner from 2017. So at times it's ridiculous that you hear somebody saying, we are in 2021, fix roads. You are far behind. You are years and months behind. Those people should double up and follow us and know where we are. We have left them behind. When roads were being fixed from January 2017 with speed, but without sacrificing quality. Hey, 4 or 5 years on, we should fix roads. You are late. You are far behind. Get up and run and catch up with us, because we have gone far. There are other developmental projects. Sorry. And the government has secured funding for the following projects: dualization of Tema Akosombo, covering a distance of 64 kilometers. And as we speak now, the contractor is on site working in Zag construction. Dualization of Tema Aflawo, a distance of 17 kilometers with 4 to 5 different interchanges, and it will go beyond the Central University location. The first 17 kilometers are being dualized, and it's being undertaken by a company called BHM, a British company. They are on site as we speak now, and they are working. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And they are working, and by the time they finish this project, the current traffic congestion that we experience there will be a thing of the past. But it's a very important stretch, and there is a program to dualize it up to Afrawo. It's part of the dualization program, and even more so with the location of the Central University, Center of Academic Excellence. That place, anytime they are doing graduation or any function there, nobody can access the road. And with our government, we don't joke with education, because it's education that builds knowledge. We have to free that stretch of road of congestion. I have therefore directed the contractor, BHM, and I visited them about 2.5 weeks ago, to work at the POM intersection as quickly as practicable to enable traffic flow on that road. The La Beach Road completion project is also ongoing. It's being undertaken by 2 different contractors, and it starts from the Independence Square. It starts from the Independence Square all the way to Tema, to join the Tema dual carriage at the new port expansion. And there is an interchange at the Nungwa barrier. It's a dual carriage, and work is going on. Also, we have secured a Kuwaiti funding to do Domi Kitasi Road. Greater part of it will even be dualized with street lighting, and there too we have another, important institution on that road, the university, the Ashasi University, another great center of learning, center of excellence, and that road must be done. On the other hand, it will serve as an alternative route to Peduasi, to all those who are traveling to Ekwapim area and who may even want to continue to Kumasi and the north through Koforidua. So these are important roads that are being worked on, and pretty soon work will start on that road because the Kuwaiti funding has been secured. And so on. There are a number of roads, dualization of Sekendi and Adembra roads, reconstruction of Teshi Link Road is now at 85% completion, and this is a road that I would credit to Honorable Okoboy. When he was the MP, he fought day and night for this road and other roads to be done. I wish I had the powers, but I don't have. This road should even be named after Honorable Okoboy, because he has worked tirelessly and has brought it to 85% completion. We must see what people have done and reward them appropriately. We are also doing a number of roads under the Oil and Gas Enclave program, and it's being sponsored by the Ghana Gas Project, and a number of projects are being done covering a total of 87 kilometers, all in the western region. We are doing roads from Esiama, that is the Esiama Nkrofo Road. Then we are doing Nkrofo town roads. And Nkrofo, those of you and journalists, Nkrofo rings a bell. That is the hometown of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and over 64 years after independence, Nkrofo roads had not been done by any government. Today, the government of President Akufo-Addo is doing Nkrofo roads and is doing Nkrofo town roads. And Nkrofo town roads has been directed, the Department of Urban Roads has been directed to asphalt Nkrofo town roads. That is the hometown of our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. As many as 87 kilometers of roads are being done under the Ghana Gas Project. GNPC and all these roads have gotten to 90% completion stage. Substantial completion. Under JNPC, we are also constructing a number of roads, and it will work out almost 200 kilometers of roads, and the beneficiary areas include telekinesis to Saman Eniba, Teleku Bokazo to Asesetre Enyinasi, then Asesetre Enyinasi to Ekropon to Jampre, then Santaso to Asumasi Baseka. All these roads covering 200 kilometers have started and are ongoing. We are also constructing concrete roads, and this is an example of it. We started from Tema, and we specifically selected Tema because we wanted to test the robustness of the concrete construction. You know, the one major concrete construction road in our country is that of the 19.5 kilometer stretch between Tema and Accra, referred to as Accra-Tema motorway, constructed in the 60s, mid-60s by our first president. That is the one main concrete road that we have. And this second one under President Akufo-Addo's government is being done, and once more is being championed by our dynamic, indefatigable Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia. He cut the sword for this project, and we have been monitoring it on behalf of the President and the government of Ghana. It's being constructed by one of the great contractors in our country, Joshua Construction. He specifically imported this machine. He acquired this machine specifically for this project. And perhaps it's the only one in the country now. But there are other strong, hard-working contractors of our nation who are prepared to go into concrete road construction. So we are using this as a pilot scheme. This is in Tema, the Steelworks area. Those of you who live in Tema, you have seen it. He has done a lot of good work, and the first phase, covering a distance of 4.2 kilometers, is being brought to an end and will be commissioned. Then it will encourage us to look at other areas. This is expected to cost about 35.9 million Ghana cedis. There are other road programs. This is being done in Accra. Some areas dualization, some asphalted, is being undertaken by one of our young engineer contractors. There are some young contractors who are so dynamic, hardworking, who are coming up, and I'm happy the engineers are giving them all the support to develop them, because there must be succession planning. And this one is being done by Oswald Investment. Very young, enterprising, hardworking contractor, and I salute him and people like him and all those who work hard and work well and do not cut corners to cheat the people of this country will have my support, and will have the support of the president, and will have the support of government. Anybody who does the opposite will not be tolerated. This is the handiwork of Oswald Investments. And there are a number of them like that going on. Because of time, let me move fast. Bridges. Let's move on to bridges. I have finished the road bridges. I've said that we did 50 bridges during President Akufo-Addo's first term, and the second term we have programmed and scheduled 200, out of which we are confident that 120 will be completed during the second term, whilst the remaining 80 of the 200 will be at various levels of completion, so that by 7th January 2025, God willing, if President Akufo-Addo is handing over the baton to an MPP president, inshallah, the road sector we could boast of doing 50 plus 250 bridges in the road sector alone. And I've listed them, some of them major bridges. Let me point out 2 or 3. Volivo Bridge is being put on the Volta River at around Esutwari. Volivo Bridge will also serve as an alternative bridge to Adomi. And the people of this country can recall that anytime the Adomi Bridge develops any problem, our brothers and sisters in the Volta region and all those who travel to the eastern side, go through terrible time. Some sleep at Adomi area for days, if not weeks, before they are able to cross the river. So we are working on this. The funding is secured. The government and people of Japan is giving us the funding. It's secured, I can assure you, but they were awaiting the construction of the roads leading to the area, and that one too, we have secured funding. So that bridge will be fixed very soon. Then Adoso Echi Amanfrom Bridge, that will cross to Afram Prince, is also being worked on and is going to be fixed. Bupe, Yape, Daboya bridges, we have secured the funding, and the contractor, Kores Gawao, has started the Bupe, Yape bridges. They are building 2 new bridges. These bridges were built in the mid-60s. They are long-span bridges, which we have to change them now. And we are also building the Daboya one in addition. So the 3 bridges are going on concurrently, simultaneously, because should anything happen to either Bupe or Yape, because both of them lie within the Central Corridor Road, the Daboya one will be used as an alternative bridge. A number of bridges have been completed. GHA alone, and the Chief Executive Baba Kasim is here, GHA alone has completed as many as 20 bridges. So a number of bridges from the point, those in red, downwards, and you can roll it over. The next 2 slides. These are some of the bridges that have been built. And these bridges are in Ghana. They are in Ghana. Don't think that these are bridges in Ghana, built in Ghana during President Akufo-Addo's time. Some are Spanish bridges. Some are Czech bridges. We can show more and more. Show them more. We have built all these bridges in Ghana within a period of 3.5 years. And as many as 50 bridges have been completed. This is a serious government under a serious president. We have built a number of footbridges. Let me go on to interchanges, because my time is almost up. I've seen the way Kojo has been eyeing me, but except that he told you, except that I am his papa, so I have that privilege. He can't control me, so but I won't create problems for him. Interchanges, I have told you, 9 of them are going on concurrently as we speak now in the country. $25 have been earmarked, and we hope to finish 20 before the end of President Akufo-Addo's term. And all the interchanges have been listed, and we have gone far. The last 9 are in the construction stage. They are going on concurrently. And show the people of this country some of the interchanges. This is when President Obichebi Lamte, President Akufo-Addo was cutting the sod. We have finished the phase 1. They are building the phase 2, and the phase 2 has commenced. I believe you travel through Obichebi Lamte Circle. Any major project started by President Akufo-Addo is going on. It has not been stopped because there have been proper planning. We don't do things anyhow, as some people did. We do things properly. So whatever we start, God willing, inshallah, we'll see completion. No major project under our government will get stopped, God willing. This Pokwasi interchange, and I've told you, first week in July, President Akufo-Addo will be commissioning it. And the members of the press, I invite all of you in advance. These are all in Ghana. It's in Ghana. We are not showing pictures from some jurisdictions. It's within our jurisdiction in Ghana, under a serious government, a serious president, serious leadership. Let me conclude. I know people want me to conclude. Let me conclude by saying that I wish Kojo had given me 10 hours, because I can speak for 10 hours on the road sector, and I will have a story to tell on behalf of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So the people of this country, I want to assure you that the president is focused, and the government will not be intimidated, and the government will not be pushed unnecessarily, even though we expect and we welcome good suggestions from good people, so that we all carry the country together. All those who have good ideas that will promote this country should come forward. And we are prepared to work together. The road sector is huge, but it has been tackled robustly. And I want to assure the people of this country that with that dynamism and with the focus on that sector, by the end of President Akufo-Addo's 8-year term, the road infrastructure in our country would have changed significantly, would have changed for the better, and would have ensured quality infrastructure for our country now and going forward. I salute all contractors. Let me end on the note that they have done a yeoman's work. Payment had not been the best. We admit contractors have done a lot of work. They have played their role well. They have kept faith with government, and government will not take them for granted. Government so far has paid about 10 billion to contractors, and we started from behind. We started paying for IPCs, interim payment certificates, from as far back as 2011. When we came to office in 2017, there were IPCs from 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. We started paying from there because road construction is always in progress. If, may God forbid, our government had not succeeded itself, there would have been also some IPCs that the next government will have to deal with. So we are dealing with them. That's why the President declared 2021 another year of road, and has directed all his infrastructure ministers not to add on now and to concentrate on clearing all outstanding debts. I salute all contractors for their sacrificial job, and I want to assure them that we are working hard to clear all their outstanding debts as much as possible. And the problem that we had with COVID, despite that, we are planning to pay them. I thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, we are very grateful for the presentation and the fact that despite our not giving you 10 hours, you squeezed it all together for us. Honorable Minister, I just want to highlight a few things that hit me strongly in your presentation, as I invite my colleagues just to show by hand, and we'll bring the microphone to you. You started off by making the point that Ghana's total road network is about 78,400 kilometers across the country. And that, no, don't worry. I mean, you sit down. I'm just going over it. 78,400 kilometers. And that upon assumption of office, about 23% of that had been done.
No, 23 from independence.
Yes.
Only 23% that's ever seen.
Yes.
The remaining 77.
Yes. So this is as at 2017 January, upon assumption of office, only about 23% of the 78,000 kilometers had ever been paved.
And let me add that at the moment, my engineers, the technical people, are doing the next exercise. Perhaps before, I don't know the timeline, but before the end of the second quarter, they will come up with the statistics. That will compare with the 2017 one.
Very well, very well.
So we are working on that.
Very well. I was only going back just to realize that because there were three big headlines you gave us, if I can just go over them, that in the road sector, you have programmed to do about 11,000 kilometers of roads, and you expect to finish about 6,000 of them within this 4-year period. And you earlier mentioned that if every administration was doing this much in roads, our road situation will be significantly over by now. So, colleagues, just a little math that I was working here. Now, that 11,000 kilometers of roads will represent about 14% of the 78,000 kilometers. So what Honorable Minister is saying is that if every administration was doing about 11,000, in about 6 terms of government, 6 4-year terms, that'll be about 20-something years, our roads will be done. I'm just trying to translate it into numbers. If the program is to do 11,000 kilometers of roads out of 78,400, if you take out what has been done, the 23% prior to January 2017, and then what was done between 2017 and now, with what is outstanding, over 6 terms, we should be done with our road. So what it requires is an administration that will aggressively tackle the road program as it's being done now. And I think the numbers are really startling. 11,000 kilometers of roads, out of which about 6,000. When it comes to bridges, about 200 of them programmed, and the Honorable Minister explains that they expect to finish about 120 of them. And then when it comes to interchanges, 25 of them programmed, and they expect to finish 20 of them. Some of the 20 you've seen already, Pokwase and all of those ones you've seen already. I say this to you in all humility, in all honesty. After practicing journalism for nearly a decade, this is my first time of seeing or hearing the road bridge interchange program articulated in this manner so that we can all see ourselves in it. And I think it's important that, one, you draw the country's attention to it, and as Honorable Minister said, 2, you hold us accountable. If we hold every government accountable, okay, how many kilometers are you doing in your 4-year term? We'll be able to then, make headway. I would let you please raise your hand, and then I'll bring the microphone to you for you to put up your question. But Honorable Minister, I thank you for putting it in this context for us. We'll have an opportunity to take questions. You also mentioned that a lot of payment has taken place to contractors. Did you say 10 billion? 10 billion in the last 4 years. And that some of the IPCs were as far back as 2011. And if we look at the cost of the projects, as colleagues, we'll give you a copy of the document. I want to beg of you, take time, study the document. For those of you in the electronic media, your morning show host, etc., let's spend some time on this document and interrogate it. Because, for example, your asphalt road, about what, 1-point-something billion. So if you are not paying for IPCs of 2011, and you are using all of that money to do forward-looking projects, then we can probably do a lot more than even this 11,000 kilometers that we are talking about. But I think these are some of the things that we must also begin to examine. And then, most importantly, what is our responsibility in ensuring that we're able to fund this 11,000 kilometers of roads? Because that is also another part of it. We can program it, but if we don't fund it, we'll have a difficulty there. Colleagues, I saw, 1, 2, 3. Are there any ladies? We'll be biased towards the ladies first. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take a first batch of 4. I'll come to you 5 while we go around. So let's start from here. Please introduce yourself and let's hear your question. Please keep the questions simple so that we can get you answers.
My name is John Awuni. In the minister's prefatory message, he indicated that what he was going to present was the truth and nothing but the truth, because it has been, the program was beamed live on Ghana television. Somebody from the recent saw that was cut in the Upper West region for the EU funded 35,670 kilometer reach agricultural roads. 670
kilometers of
roads, agricultural roads in the Upper West region.
Yeah.
A citizen from that part of the country is saying that as of 2019, Ministry of Food and Agriculture statistics on maize production in Ghana, about 38,173 metric tons were produced from the Sisala East, Sisala West, and then I think East or so. So that is the Sisala area. And it's not as if those areas, they have good agricultural roads, but the sort that was cut, unfortunately, did not include those areas, which is also predominantly the food basket of the region. So he's asking why were they left out from that EU-funded project.
So, and I like to simplify it so that I get it. So his question is, why is Sisala not included in the 670 kilometers of
Sisala, all the Sisala areas is
yes.
East, West, and Central.
Not included in this one.
Exactly.
Why are they not included?
Yes.
Considering that they are food or part of the food basket.
Exactly. And finally, my last question is, the minister indicated that he's a devout Presbyterian, so, and he spoke with passion regarding that issue. So I wanted to find out, for the sake of political expediency, you hear politicians stand on political platforms saying, Kwanyedi. So in this context, look at the passion in which he's trying to help the road industry. If a politician says, do we eat roads as a way of gaining political advantage, what message does he have for such a politician?
So your question really is, what does he say to those who say that we don't chew roads?
Exactly, something like that. Thank you.
Colleagues, I beg of you, let's simplify the question so that it's easier for... Your first question is, why... Okay, so somebody from Sisala is asking, why is the Sisala enclave not included in the 670 kilometers of agric roads? Assuming that is the truth, that is not included, why is it not included? Your second question is, what does he say to people who say that roads, we don't chop? Okay, all right. I'll come for answers later. Honorable Minister, please note it down. I'll come for answers. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I am Lansa Musa with GH1 TV.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
The road linking the two upper regions, Upper East and Upper West, has always been in the budgets of successive governments. But today in his presentation, I've not heard anything regarding that.
What's the name specifically of this? Because I'm sure there'll be
the
multiple...
Upper East, Upper West. The Wabolgatanga Road.
Good. So the Wabolgatanga Road is what you are talking about.
Yes. How soon are we going to see it completed? Yeah. Yes, through Tumu. Tumu, yes. Tua, yes.
Okay, so Minister, I'll come for an answer. So Bolga, Navrongo, Tumu. Tumuwa. So Bolga, Navrongo, Tumuwa. Does he have an update on that one? Thank you. Colleagues, once again, let's be specific and straight to the point so that I can get your answers. Chairman, Nana, what is your question?
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. I like your fortitude. I want to ask you three simple questions. One, a country of 64 good years, if it were a human being, the person would be an old person by now. We don't have a single express route. What does that talk about us? As a country, or at a progression, are we having a plan of having an express route in the near future? And then my second question, the dualization of Cape Coast Accra Road, Accra Kumasi Road, especially Accra Kumasi Road, has been stalled for some time now. And people are very aggressive to know why that road has been stalled. What is happening to it?
Okay.
My third question, one. Please listen to it, I have a number of roads. There's a road stretching from Mpraiso, Akosihu, Onyumuso, Agogo, Mampong to Jura. You can take that road along the Afram Plains straight to the north. It was in plan, I don't know, Honorable Banwe mentioned it some time ago. What has happened to that road?
Okay.
And then one road also from Odan Kwanta to Nkoko, and then Akodie Kwapong to Sankore. What has happened to those? Because I learned that road be fixed because I knew that from about 20 to 30 years ago. They are still
Can you mention the road again? The last one that you
The mentioned. One from
Gosu to Sankore.
Gosu Akodie Kwapong Sankore Road.
So Gosu to Sankore.
Yeah. What has happened to it?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Colleagues, let me also caution that we're not going to make this about what about this road and what about that road. There's a big roads program that has been announced. So while we will take these ones, I want to caution that it's not going to be about what about this road and what about that. There's a bigger picture that we are dealing with. Yes, sir. You'll be the final one for this batch. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Paul. Honorable, you made mention about critical roads. What qualifies a road to be critical on government's projects? And my other question has to do with in northern part of Ghana. Going to Sabuba, we have a road from Yendi to Sabuba that in 2018, no, not 2015 to coming downwards, there was a contractor on that road working. Since government succeeded in 2017, the project stalled. I want to find out why and what happened to that project, because looking at what is going on there, when it rains, people have to find an alternative route to Tamale.
So your question is, what is the status of the Yendi to Sabuba road?
Yes.
Okay. like I mentioned, we're not going to make this about, Minister, let me highlight, I think, one of the bigger issues, and I'll let you deal with some of the specifics, and then we'll move back to the bigger conversation. So what qualifies a road as a critical road? I think that's one of the bigger umbrella questions. Before a few specific questions like Yendi Sabuba, Goso Sankore, or Dan Koko, which is my road, incidentally, Praeso, Ejura, then the dualization of Accra, Cape Coast, Accra, Kumasi roads. And then there's a question about whether or not we plan to have an expressway in Ghana. That is also based on what is an expressway. Is that Temamoto Way an expressway? I don't know.
No, I know what it's talking about.
So please help us out.
Yeah, so I don't know where to start from, but I can take them one after the other. Yeah. Thank you very much. Let me salute all of you who ask questions. All your questions are relevant and necessary. Well done. I should say well done to all of you. It gives me the opportunity to expatiate on some of these things. Yeah, critical roads. Let me say that every road in Ghana, wherever it lies, if we were to have all the resources qualified to be important, qualified to be critical. Every road, anywhere, whether it is in your village or my village or anywhere. But we know that it's impossible to deal with all roads at the same time. So we have to do some prioritization. Some roads must be done first by taking certain things into consideration. You could have a road that leads to, say, a big farming area. You can look at it because if it's done, you will be able to carry farm produce along it. For instance, why do we say that the Eastern Corridor Road, for instance, is critical to government? Because the critical nature of it is that that road starts from Tema and covers a distance of about 678 kilometers all the way to the north. And if you are going to the north from the south and you use the Central Corridor Road, Central Corridor Road means you are moving from Accra, Kumasi, Tamale to, say, Tumu. If at the same time another person leaves through Tema, assuming all the Eastern Corridor Road have been done, as we are striving to do now there are contractors all throughout. Assuming it's done, the one who uses the the Eastern Corridor Road will shorten the journey by as many as 100 kilometers. You understand? And it also passes through food growing areas, food basket areas. So such a road, you don't toy with it. Again, such a road, you take it seriously because it links Temaport and all our landlocked countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, they all take their cargo from Temaport. So you know the economic importance for this country. So such a road, straight away, you pick it as a critical road. You take Bolga, Boku, Pomakro Road, for instance, covering a distance of about 109 kilometers. 109 kilometers. So it links Ghana to, say, Sankasi, northern part of Togo. Economic activities for our brothers and sisters, who are on that. So, yes, every road is important, but we take some roads as critical because of its economic benefit that this country will derive from. or agricultural benefit or whatever benefit, then we classify them as critical roads. And at times, some of these roads too, once you construct, it links so many communities at the same time. And it links some of the major corridor roads together. You know, and you look at the traveling population, you look at trade, and so on. So it's just a way of prioritizing some roads. And this one, you don't even sit in Accra to think of it. Talk to the chiefs and the people themselves. That's why we involve the regional ministers. And the regional ministers were not even giving us the roads themselves. I had been privileged to be on tour with His Excellency the President. Anywhere we went, every region, every district, wherever there was a deba of chiefs and people to receive the President, they will mention one or two roads. Those two roads do not represent all the bad roads in the area. But they said that, Mr. President, this and that. These are the roads we want you to do. It's critical to them for their needs. So that's how we started them. And then,
Minister, do you want to take the dualization of Accra, Cape Coast, Accra, Kumasi?
Accra, Kumasi.
What's the status?
No, you see, Accra, Kumasi dualization, has been on the drawing board. It started in, if I'm not afraid, 2005, thereabout, under President Kufuor. Accra, Kumasi. My colleagues, engineers, 2001, okay. Please, if I am getting it wrong, please remind me, because people are listening to us. But the most important thing is that it started in President Kufuor's time to dualize Accra, Kumasi. And it is being undertaken by China Water. That is from Kwafu Krom to Apiga. And the Ofanko to Nsawam had already been dualized, even though it has failed, and we are trying to work on it to reconstruct and to rehabilitate that portion of the road. So if that is done, and now there are two contractors on it, Maripoma Company is on Ofanko to Nsawam, and from Kwafu Krom to Apiga, the China Water Company is on it. At least you can see that the Accra-bound section is all through, leading to the opening of the Suhum overpass. They are working on the Kumasi-bound side, and that has even gone very far, at least about 65% or so, and one of the engineers is on it. So we are working on it. The only thing is that there was a break after 2008. I can tell you, between 2009 2016, nothing was done on that stretch of the road, which was started by President Kufuor. And all those who traveled on that route between 2009 and 2016, nothing was done. The dualization was not carried forward. You could see heap of material. Some of them had overgrown. You could even trap grass cutters there, and you are likely to get a grass cutter. It was never touched. We restarted it when we came back in 2017. So the dualization is on. Now, from Apiga Junction to Kumasi has been broken down into 5 lots. And contractors are bidding for it. We have entered memorandum of understanding with some of them, because it's a long stretch. So we want 5 contractors to work on it at different sessions, so that we bring that project to speed. And I can assure the people of this country that, God willing, by close of 2024, Accra Kumasi would have been dualized.
Mr. Accra Cape Coast?
Yes, Accra Cape Coast, we are also working on it. We have a memorandum of understanding with about 2 companies. But let me say that we will work fast on it because that stretch of road is part of the Abidjan-Lagos project under ECOWAS. So we are getting great help from African Development Bank. From Abidjan to Lagos covers a distance of 1,028 kilometers, out of which 50% lies in the Ghanaian corridor from Elubo to Afrawo, 578 kilometers. So that project is of great importance to us. And we are working very hard at it because President Akufo-Addo's second term, you know, one of the major objectives in the road sector is to kickstart and to initiate the dualization of all major trunk roads. Those that will be completed. Those that wouldn't be possible to complete would have reached different levels of completion, and the next, God willing, MPP government will then take it over and continue. So by the time, you know, MPP completes the next 16 or 20 years of this administration, all roads in our country would have been dualized.
Minister, quickly, talking of major road corridors, can you speak to the subject of Bolga-Tumuwa, because that's also another major corridor that connects a number of regions.
Bolga, Navrongo, Tumuwa, the whole stretch, I'm happy to announce that, has been awarded. And 3 contractors are on it: Maintain, Mawooms, and Greenhouse. I'm happy that question was asked. It was a very important stretch of road. So we are working on it. And you know, the only factory we have for how do we call it? Spinning, cotton. The only this thing we have is in Tumu. I have visited there before, and cotton is grown around that area. No, that factory is not doing well because the roads, you know, it's a problem. So I want to assure you that there are as many as 3 contractors working on that route, and we will push it.
Yes, sir, there are a few specific questions. I'll leave them to your discretion. For example, is it true that Sisala Enclave is not included in the 670-kilometer agric routes, and if so, why? Then there are a few specifics. Go also Sankore.
You see, members of the press, in selecting the areas, it could be true. Although we are doing a total of 670 kilometers. I must be honest with you, and I won't tell you anything which I don't know. I have not positioned Sisala, but you see, 670 kilometers of roads is not a joke. So a town may not perhaps be mentioned, but by the construction of the road, it could pass through its corridor. You understand? Because great work went into it. They did studies. It's not like out of the blue, somebody said, we are going to do 670 kilometers. There were studies. Engineers went there, identified the roads, and this is, don't forget, a World Bank EU project. And you know, World Bank and EU, you know, their faces are, before you can get their money, you know, you must do the right thing. No, the feasibility studies, if necessary, everything. So, whilst I cannot address specific towns, but it's food for thought. Chief Director, I think he said something which is important. He said something like the Sisara area, if we are doing it for agricultural purposes, is an area that food production is highest in the region. So let us note it. When we go back, let's look at it. Bibi, you are here. Let's look at it. Because if that is true and it has been neglected, we can bring it up and hold discussion with the World Bank, EU people. But after all, that is the purpose of the project. And the project is not sacrosanct. If we have to vary it to serve the greatest interest of the people, we have to do that. So please note it. So I assure you, it will be taken up. And follow it up to my ministry. Don't leave it here. Don't just ask the question and go and sleep. Follow it up. And if you come to the ministry, come to me myself. Because you have asked me the question. Come, and I will give you the answer.
Colleagues, we are running out of time. I want to come back to you for another set of questions. But that's precisely why we're saying, let's not make it about, some specific rules, because he may not have all of those road details here. The big thematic questions we're happy to take. There was a hand up here that I already pointed.
Minister,
yes,
sorry,
sir.
Somebody has a very important question. Said no single express road.
Yes.
It's a very important. If you can allow.
Go ahead, sir.
No, yes, it's true, and I'm sure the person has, when we travel outside the country, we know.
What's an express road, Minister? Because I don't know what it is.
Express road. Normally, it's a highway like a motor without. At times it doesn't even pass through any town. And it maintains a certain speed.
So is a motorway an express road?
It used to be, but now you can't. I don't know whether you can call it so now. Now that urbanization and settlement has taken, everybody is entering, and I don't know whether it's an express road again. But you say?
Achimoto of Anko.
Of Anko. Yes, Track, yes, okay. Because you can't enter into any this. And we are planning 2. In fact, the first one, and as if, I don't know whether you were hiding behind my ministry, because we discussed in detail one of them. We are starting one between Accra and Kumasi. And we want to pass through what we call Greenfield. So we are charging a company to do the studies, to find the right road corridor, which will get the road reservation. Accra to Kumasi highway, it could be 6 lane, 3 lane, even 10 lanes with slip roads and all. That one, when you start, there will be no break. On such a road, nobody will be allowed to put speed ramps or no. And it could be built in such a way that there could be embankments so that settlement can come close. You can't go and sell bread along the side, and you can't go and put kiosks there because there will be embankment. There is a highway, and then you tow it. You see, so that such a road, if you say the tow from Accra to is even 100 cedis, assuming it had been completed yesterday, and we are using today's decision. Instead of 50 pesos toll that we correct now, you say 100 cedis. I know people like you sitting here and the journalists, the rich ones, you don't mind. You can use it. So we are planning that.
So, Minister, because we're running out of time, I'm going to take a final batch and then we'll move on. So 1, 2, 3. There was another hand at the back. Was that a lady's hand I saw at the back? No, then 1, 2, 3, then I'll come here, 4, 5, and then we'll wrap up. Okay?
So my name is Kweku Asante.
Let's try and keep the questions very simple,
right,
so that
very
we can
brief, simple ones. When the finance minister had a session, close to the fixed account habitation, he said something, and I quote, "I'm working with the ministers of roads and highways, transport and interior to address congestion along the major ways." I want to know what in specific terms is being done about this. There's also the issue about speed ramps. In some areas, residents themselves have created their own speed ramps. It's not smooth and it's causing some problems. What is government doing about that? And then on the matter of road accidents, between January and April this year, 1,000 people have lost their lives on our roads. Is this something that the ministry is looking at? And then the Sino Hydro deal. We know it's a $2 billion project. How much has the Chinese government, released to government so far about this? And then
I think they showed it in the PowerPoint presentation. Did I see 500
million?
Yeah.
Okay. And so on the matter of the...
Unfortunately, I have to move on. I have to move on and take others. Yes, sir. So, Kweku, I took 3 of your questions. Let me move on, sir.
Right.
Quickly.
Daniel Ajuda, Computer.
Yep.
Minister say, okay, maintenance on Hassam, road maintenance from 2017 to current date. Me say, how much did it cost? Omani Bokasain at the road maintenance, no? And now, then she say, no, they better to a said going forward, no, Omani Mboka. And now we would never check and sign your maintenance. So the best is cano in Quebec, you push it. You
can't. Our sister say more extended time no for 5 years.
Okay.
Why answer that?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
How much did it cost us?
Okay. In the first question, how much did road maintenance cost between 2017 and 2020? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Honorable. Midindi Akokraba via Juma Kasapa FM.
Yeah.
Honorable, all court vetting. No idea about all kind. This is amenyokuwa na sempono. Mrashibija forji utumwa. Adeɛ baako a wɔn twentwɛn so abɛyɛ ne sɛ road levy road tolls ne awodoɔ no wɔn mmɔden ase betumi increase no saa nkɔmɔdeɛ yi bibisa sɛ akɔ akɔ kesi sɛn ɛsan sɛ wɔhwɛ Ghana hɔ nom a toll booth awodoɔ no ɛboro aduasa no
road tolls nkɔmɔ na kɔsi sɛn
yes ɛna afei nso no wɔhwɛ Achimota Fankɔ highway no nso a adeɛ baako a yɛhwɛ ne mu sɛ betumi ahwɛ na wɔyi accident awodoɔ afiri hɔ nom no street light yɛ adeɛ a wɔntumi nkɛngya hɔ over 400 street lights ɛna wɔ Achimota to Fankɔ emu 400 only 12 and a year juma.
According to where?
According to my report, am I?
One
I can kind of.
No. It's fair. I mean, it's data he's putting out, and we must develop this culture where somebody puts out data. We say what's the source, and asking what's the source is not a. Yeah, and it's good that he has done that. Go ahead,
12 per year juma, and she be na odi go akwam se be ya oberhe na when ni na tima year juma na accident awodo no so it mecha. That's it.
Akraba that's ye bo abaso say one kasa why sa research no now they to abontin be sa one question. That's the kind of journalism we are looking for. Finder and then GNA. I'll take only one question. Unfortunately, okay, yes, Finder.
Minister.
Yes, sir.
Recently, there was an armed robbery attack on workers on the Wulugu-Pasengbe highway. They also took away 300,000 Ghana cedis. I'm wondering, are you aware of this?
Is he aware of an armed robbery attack on the Wulungu-Pasenga road?
Pasengbe, yeah.
Yes.
Road, on the workers.
Yes.
And what if he's aware, has he spoken to the contractors and the workers about...
If he's aware, has he done what?
Has he had interactions with them subsequently?
Has he spoken to the contractors?
Yes, and the workers about what they went through. Also, in 2015, the Ghana Highway Authority threatened to clear billboards, unauthorized billboards on the road network. This threat was repeated somewhere 2019, April. I'm wondering, what's the status of this threat? And they also threatened to surcharge companies.
So what is the Ghana Highway Authority doing about billboards in unauthorized places?
Yes.
Thank you. Ghana News Agency, one question and then we'll wrap up. I'll take both. Let's be quick. Simplify them.
Okay, thank you. Honorable, what plans do you have to introduce electronic payment of tolls?
Electronic payment of tolls?
Yes, because of the great loss we experienced along that route.
Very well. Your second question?
Then Minister Ken Oferata, the Minister of Finance, said it will cost government $10 billion to fix all roads. And I want the minister, who is the minister of that sector, to throw more light onto this thing. Thank you.
Minister, so we are in your hands. What is being done to address congestion, speed ramps, and road safety, I think? That was the first question from Kweku. What is being done to address congestion, speed ramps, and road safety? How much did it cost to maintain roads between 2017 and 2020? In Chi, road tolls in Komono, Akosi Sen, and Achimota of Fankor street lights, bear 12 out of 400, you said. Ena eye juma, ye huden. Wulungu Pasenga Road. Yes, say armed robbery BC. So when you want or have you had opportunity to speak to the contractors or the workers? Do you have any further information on that reported accident? What has been done also about billboards in unauthorized places? Electronic payment for tolls? And can you throw more light on the $10 billion, that's 60 billion cedis there, about estimate of what is required to complete our major roads? Minister, we're in your hands. We have just about 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Let me run quickly through them. If the answers are not deep enough because of time, when we break, you can contact me or any of my people to fill you in. One, congestion. Congestion. Is it okay now?
Yes, it is.
Congestion is very, very important for obvious reasons. If possible, there shouldn't be congestion of our roads because it retards progress, economically, even health. Congestion, you are behind another car, blowing fumes, you are inhaling, and it has even health implications. So we are concerned about it. I'm happy to announce that about a month ago, I set up 3 key committees in my ministry to look at 3 key issues. One of them was on congestion. And all the 3 are being headed by, one of our strong, proven engineers, and they are working hard. I think before end of month, they are supposed to submit their report to me. But that notwithstanding, we have even started going round, and you are journalists. I know you follow us. We have been to Boom intersection. That's why in my presentation I said that BHM contractor, I have directed him to start work there to ease that congestion leading to the investing. Okay, we have been to Osino and Enyinem to deal with that problem. We have been to Burumbura. We have been to Mankasim. And each of these places, I am happy to announce that we found solution to them, and my engineers and the agency heads have taken them up. Some we are doing quick bypasses to temporarily deal with the situation until the long-term dualization program, which will permanently solve that problem. So that's on congestion. Speed ramps. You are asking very relevant, very intelligent questions. Speed ramps had been seen by us, my ministry, as problematic. The public complain, the transport unions complain, and government is in place to deal with the concerns of the people. So there's another committee, also headed by one of our strong engineers in my ministry. So they are doing speed ramp audit across the country. And where we have to remove them, we are going to remove them, at least to let us enjoy traveling. So we are looking at it. Road accidents, that is a very broad question, very, very broad question, which has to be dealt with professionally, and I invite your views. I had the opportunity to contribute to road safety issue on the floor of Parliament, and I indicated that regrettably all of us are clamoring for good roads, but regrettably the more we improve the roads, then the more drivers would want to perhaps put their driving proficiency to test, by accelerating and speeding and overtaking, and because we are recording fatal accidents on the excellent road portions, of our network. You remember last year on the Cape Coast Road, one accident claimed 50 lives. You are journalists. And then on Brownhafo, Kintampo Road, another accident claimed 50 lives. So driver attitude, the indiscipline, even the driver unions, or the transport unions, they themselves are concerned. At times we dialogue with them, and at times they themselves discipline their own people. So accidents, is a lot of them, wrong overtaking, overspeeding, drink drive, and all that. So we have to talk to our people. This is what I said, and one of you, unprofessionally reported me that we should stop constructing roads, because if you construct roads, people will be dying. I mean, if you are a journalist worth your salt, you won't talk that way. But in our part of the world, where people think that once they have the microphone, they are on top of the world, and that they can criticize anybody and say anything at all and get away with it. If you are a journalist worth your salt, me, road minister, saying that we should not construct road because when we construct, people will die. You see, you write it that way. When people read, they know. The two of us, they know who is intelligent and who is stupid. The two of us, the people of this country, will judge who is intelligent and who is stupid. Then, that one, I can't put a figure on it, but in terms of maintenance costs.
So, Minister, we can get the figure for them later. Let's quickly deal with the road tolls conversation. Is there any update on the road tolls conversation? Come on about road tolls. Nakosi saying it was a trick question.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's something that must go through cabinet. You cannot just get up and say you have increased road toll. We are coming up with a memo to cabinet, and then to parliament to get the law changed and amended. I think the last time it was done was in NDC time, around 2015 or so, or 16, under 2015, 2016, when 2010, when the fuel levy, when it was increased from 4 pesos to 40. No, the road toll increased from 5 cedis to 1 cedi. 1 cedi for the 4-wheel cars, and there was so much hue and cry in this country. But let me put on record that our country pays, if I'm not afraid, the lowest toll in the whole world. So, but the world average is $1, and $1 is about 6 cedis or so, around 6 cedis. So we are taking of it. Of course, government will take into consideration the capabilities and the power, economic power of the people to pay. But we are working on it. It will definitely come up. So the people of this country should brace themselves up that we are going to change the road to. As for that one, it's coming.
Street lights, Minister.
Street light, yes. He was talking about the street light on Ofanko.
Yeah.
We fixed them.
But the bigger question he's asking is, what is a program to ensure that street lights are maintained?
Let me make this clear. People should understand this. My ministry is responsible strictly for traffic lights. Strictly.
So street lights will go to transport?
Street lights, no. It's under I think, Energy Commission, Ministry of Energy. Strictly.
So colleagues, let's make a note.
But at times we help. But the one he's talking about, because it's in town, So urban roads, people fix it. But they were vandalized. They were stolen. We fixed that portion of the road, that you spoke of. We fixed them in 2019. But all the cables were stolen. Okay. So we are revisiting it. So there is security challenge there. And the billboards, somebody asked of the billboards, yes, it's stopped, but we have resumed. And the billboards, we work in conjunction with the city authorities and the advertising association. you know, we cannot just go on our own with impunity and throw them off. So we have to work with these institutions.
The final question, Minister, can you throw some more light on how much is required to comprehensively deal with the entire road network? Finance Minister mentioned that we need at least about $10 billion to
yes.
do a good job there. Any further comment on
Let me confirm the figure. Let me confirm the figure given by the Finance Minister. He did not talk out of the blue, and he did not, with the highest respect, talk anyhow. He mentioned the figure that has been concluded, because His Excellency the President charged the two of us, my good self and the Finance Minister, to sit down and work out the mathematics and what will be required, you know, to deal seriously, you know, and aggressively with the road sector. And we did that work. I mean, my ministry, my engineers did that exercise, and we had a joint meeting with the other technocrats from Ministry of Finance, of course, with the two ministers, myself and Minister of Finance present. We did detailed work, and that work has since even been reported to Cabinet, and the government is looking at it. You know, economic management team, they are all looking at it as how to raise the money, you know, in whatever form. Well, that's what we need. If we have $10 billion, which will work out to something around about 60 billion Ghana cedis, at least we will be able to do what all previous governments could not do. We will stand in for them and what they could not do. Okay?
Thank
you. Yeah.
Colleagues, that will bring us to the end of our brief on roads. I just want to reiterate some of the major points that the Honorable Minister has made. There's a program for about 11,000 kilometers of roads, and they expect that they can conclude or complete about 6,000 of them in these 4 years, whilst the remaining will still be under construction. This program excludes what is in the pipeline that could be added to this 11,000 kilometers of roads. And I think it's instructive to note how Honorable Minister first puts the picture in context. And I pray you to let your audiences also understand the context. 78,000 kilometers of road for the entire country, out of which 23%, only 23% from independence till January 2017 had been paved. And then in the last 4 years, give or take about 4,000 was worked on. So you can see the balance or the outstanding kilometerage of roads. And the program is that in the next 4 years, 11,000 kilometers. That's about 14% of the 78,000. And Honorable Minister makes the point that if you have every government in 4 years doing this about 14%, do the math. In about, unless my math is not correct, in about 6 4-year terms, you should be done with all of this. The costs, as at now, looking at it, they talk about about $10 billion in that space. And I think it raises a conversation we have to have somewhere down the line. What is the most optimal way to raise this $10 billion? Is it debt? Or are we agreeing that because we don't want too much debt, we will all pay a little bit more so that we can do it? Or is it a mix of the two? So we want the roads, but there's a conversation also about our collective responsibility to ensure that these programs can come to fruition. 120 bridges out of 200 bridges. And he's shown us those that have been completed, those that are, on their way to completion, and then about 25 interchanges programmed, out of which about 20 expected to be completed. And he's given us some more details. Honorable Minister, we didn't give you 10 hours, but I think you've done a lot in almost 3 hours. I think we'll give him a round of applause. Colleagues, as I usher the Honorable Minister through the minister's door on the left, himself and his delegation, as they exit, I want to invite to the podium the government statistician. There's something significant that is going to happen on the 27th of June. That is the census night. It happens once every 10 years. 27th of June is census night. And after census night, we'll have what we call enumeration. Now, this exercise is critical because for all the policies of government, one of the key considerations is census data. One of our colleagues was asking, how do you determine priority routes? As Minister mentioned, economic benefits, other things, and also benefits to populations within some of these areas. So census data is even critical for things like road construction. Policy formulation hinges strongly on census data. He's going to speak to us briefly about what has been done, what is outstanding, and we need your help if the census exercise is to be successful. We need your help. So he's going to outline what help we need from you so that you can help us have a successful census and build successful policies based on it. Professor Nim used to be a professor of economics. He was one of my lecturers in Cape Coast University. So if my economics is not good, you can blame him for it. Prof, we're in your hands. So, Rose, please.
I can understand.
Please come this way. Please.
Thank you.
As the road team exits, colleagues, we will share with you a copy of the presentation. The data is rich. Interrogate it and let your audiences also be acquainted with it. Prof, let's start.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon, members of the press. What I intend doing is to walk you through three main issues, and under each of these three issues, I'm going to touch on three items. The first dimension is about prompting all of us with regards to where we are and why we need to take the upcoming 2021 population and housing census exercise as a very important national activity that is going to occur to us as a country in the next 35 days. The first prompt is the fact that, as was indicated by the Honorable Minister, census undertaking is a decennial activity. The last thing we would want to do as a country is to make this 2021 population and housing census as a missed opportunity. That is why we are so grateful to the ministry for creating this platform for us, and looking forward to the next few weeks ahead of us would have such similar engagement. On account of that, I would want to remind members of the press the key dates that are ahead of us. In 8 days' time, that is between now, the 23rd of May to the 31st of May, we're going to start with our major and last training program, which is a training of field officers. And for the 2021 population and housing census, we've identified the need to put in the classroom 76,500 field enumerators and supervisors, of which 70,000 of them will be deployed to the field. The second most important date that I want to put out there, which is going to occur in the next 21 days, is the start of the listing of structures. Population and housing census is anchored by two pivotal objectives. One has to do with complete coverage, and the second has to do with accurate data. For purposes of complete coverage, we have to chalk and list all structures that are at different stages of completion ahead of the enumeration exercise. And this exercise has been scheduled to start from the 13th of June 2021. That gives us 21 days ahead of the start of the listing of structures. And the main date that we are all looking forward to, which thankfully the Honorable Minister talked about, and I want to emphasize, is the celebration of the Census 9. The Census 9 is very critical, and as we speak, we are 35 days ahead of the celebration of the Census 9. It remains critical because the enumeration that we would conduct from the 28th of May to the 11th of July would use 27th 9th as a reference 9. So all the questions that we are going to ask between this 14-day period, that is 28th of May to 28th of June to the 11th of July, would make reference to 27 June 2021 as the reference point. So these are the three prompts that I think it's important for us as members of the press to put in context anytime we are making publicity about the 2021 population and housing census. The second domain that I want to emphasize on are three highlights that from this press release we would be very grateful if members of the press would help us publicize it. The first, which I emphasize strongly, is the fact that census is a national activity. It is not a government activity. Census is a non-partisan activity, and census is not a partisan activity. We hold on to this strongly. Unlike the previous engagement, we are not talking about government doing this, government doing that. Census is about all of us as people living in the country, and that makes it a national activity. Census is not a partisan activity. Census is a non-partisan activity. So for those of us at Ghana Statistical Service leading the process for the census undertaking, we've taken certain steps and earmarked a couple of steps more that we need to take to ensure that indeed census undertaking is a national and a non-partisan activity. Some of the activities that we've undertaken is to get members of states, that is statesmen, to publicly make pronouncements on how they've used census data over the period. Members of the press, census is the only activity that has given us the opportunity to say that between 1960 and 2010, our population has gone up by 17.9 million persons. In 1960, our population was 6.7 million persons, and in 2010, our population stood at 24.6 million persons. So it is only the census date that gives us such rich information. So for that reason, to characterize the exercise as a national activity, it's important to engage with previous statespersons, and I've personally engaged with the former president, John Agyekum Kufuor, who's made a public statement on the census. I've personally engaged with the former president, John Dramani Mahama, who's also made a public statement on the census. On 28th of May 2021, the president has agreed to launch the 30-day countdown to the census activity. This is coming on the backdrop of His Excellency the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, launching the 100 days to the census activities on the 19th of March 2021. So clearly, with all these statesmen throwing their weight behind the census activity, it points to the fact that it is indeed a national activity. We've not stopped our engagement in ensuring that it is a national activity. Indeed, we have taken steps to ensure that it is a non-partisan activity. This is the first time that as a country we are benefiting from a Speaker of Parliament who is coming from the minority side. For that reason, again, I have personally engaged with the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, and he has agreed and again made a public statement on the relevance of the census. He made reference to how he utilized census data when he headed 3 different ministries in the past. He did not end the engagement there, but he's going ahead to ensure that come next week, Ghana Statistical Service would have the platform to engage members of parliament on the need for us to see census as indeed a non-partisan activity, so that we would all ensure that it achieves what it's intended to achieve. The second major thing that I want to highlight on has to do with the fact that within this COVID-19 era, all of us are worried about the intent that our enumerators going to the households would have on the infection rate. I want to mention to all persons in Ghana that we are taking all the necessary steps to ensure that the census adheres to the strict protocols of COVID-19. What are some of the things that we are doing? We have already engaged with the Ministry of Health through the Ghana Health Services, and again had engagement with Dr. Anthony Nsiansari, who is the Presidential Advisor on Health, and a confirmation has been given that all 85,000 field officials that we're going to engage from the beginning of 31st May 2021 would be vaccinated. So over the period 31st May 2021 to 9 June 2021, all our 85,000 field supervisors would go through the vaccination exercise. We are not ending that exercise there. We have procured all the necessary personal protective equipment, i.e. the nose masks that we need, the thermometers that we have to ensure that daily health screening is done, the sanitizers that we need. And I take this opportunity to thank Zoom Lion for supplying us with part of the sanitizers that we need ahead of the 2021 population housing census. Our field officials have further been trained on the need to ensure at least a 2-meter distance when engaging with respondents. And all of them on regular basis would have their nose masks on as they engage with respondents to ensure that no incident of COVID-19 erupts as a result of the census undertaking. So the second major highlight has to do with 85,000 of our field officers ensuring that they are vaccinated ahead of the 2021 population and housing census. The third major highlight that I want to put on the table for our press members to carry up has to do with where we are with our census undertaking. Members of the press, all our strategies have been finalized again with 8 days ahead of the training exercise. All that we are doing now is handing over the census undertaking to the production unit, which is the enumeration areas where we're going to do the census exercise. In the past 3 weeks, we visited 13 of the 16 regional coordinating councils. We've personally engaged with the regional ministers. We have only 3 of the regional coordinating councils outstanding, and hopefully in the course of the ensuing week, we're going to engage with the 3 other regional coordinating councils with the regional minister leading the engagement. In addition to that, we have been able to dispatch 8 to 8 out of the 16 regions all our census materials, and our expectation is that by Thursday, that is prior to the 30-day countdown, which I indicated that the president would be launching, we would have had all our logistics in the district where, as I indicated, are the headquarters of our production units, which is the enumeration areas. Members of the press, I would want to conclude my press briefing today with some demystifiers that I think it's important to carry to the general public as we start our census engagement. The first demystifier has to do with whether census is just about counting. For some reason, a number of us have inculcated in us the notion that census is simply about counting people. The 2021 population housing census, like previous censuses, goes beyond counting of people. What it does in this particular round is, in addition to counting people, is going to give us rich information on 13 different modules, which have been captured under 127 questions. Among the things that as media persons would want you to carry out in this press briefing is the ability of the census data to help us answer at least 2 policy key questions, and moving on, we're going to share with you how the census data can be used in at least 100 ways. One of the things that I want you to carry along is whether, as a country, we are harnessing the full benefits of the demographic dividend that we're currently enjoying as a result of the reduction in fertility that we've seen between 1960 and 2010. This is the only census data that is helping us track our fertility rate over the 50-year period. And thankfully, in 2021, we would have the opportunity to do the same analysis over a 60-year period. Another demystifier beyond the counting of persons with the census data has to do with the old age issue of addressing our housing deficit. Currently, the projection stands at in excess of 3 million persons that are challenged with finding a place of residence. It is only the census that over time gives us a sense of our housing deficit in totality, because it collects data to all the 131,739 localities that we have. So the first thing I want us to demystify as press persons is the fact that census undertaking goes beyond counting people and provides us with the rich characteristics of the persons that our successive governments would want to govern. The second demystification that I want to put on the table has to do with how census is different from other registration exercises. Census is not like elections. Census is not like the national identification system, where people would have to queue to ensure that they are registered. Census is about we going to the residences of people, engaging with the people, and asking questions about their living conditions and their living areas. So it's not just about the people, it's not just about their conditions, but the circumstances under which they live. So clearly, census undertaking is the other way around, and what we want to demystify has to do with not the need for people to travel for purposes of the engagement, just be at your place of residence, and what we say is that we're going to count every person at the right time and the right place. So just remain wherever 27/9 would find you and would come to you, do the counting, and collect the necessary information that we need. And the final thing that I want to demystify has to do with census not being the responsibility of Ghana Statistical Service. I'm happy to indicate that following the launch of the 100 days ahead to the Census 9 that was done by His Excellency the Vice President, that focused on leveraging state resources, now we are all experiencing a situation where census is not just about Ghana Statistical Service, but census being a collective responsibility, and we have state institutions coming on board to support us to ensure that this decennial activity is done, and is done in a very successive manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Prof, please stay with us behind the podium. I will take questions for you at this point in time. Colleagues, I also want to mention to you that, as Prof mentioned, census materials are being dispatched to various regions for onward transmission to districts. We have some materials on the dispatch of the census enumeration documents, etc., which we'll put on the press pool platform so that you can also share with your audiences. Good time to take questions for Prof now. We are biased towards ladies. Madam, we'll bring the microphone to you. Colleagues, if there are any others, give me a wave now. Let me get the microphone to you. Madam, let's start with you.
My name is Albert Amoti. I'm from Daily Graphic. Okay, even with national identification card, there are errors, even with people's spelling of names. And now with census and a lot of information is going to be collected, how much percentage error are you expecting?
I hear you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Suma would be below Honomoa, woman into Muse, Yebekai Womo. Sam Kofuku, we know, the year for home, and I say convince Benny de Mawam, said the Bayer, who said mediation first of all, would I say?
What are we doing about people who have religious or religion-based inhibitions, for which reason they may not want to participate in the census? And the question was in tree. Prof, I hope your tree is good. Colleagues, any other questions? Prof, I'll come to you. These are our two questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable, and thank you very much for the two questions that have come up. The first one has to do with errors, which I must indicate that it's a very important question, but we need to put that question in a context, because you need to ask yourself, what type of error are you thinking about? Are you thinking about errors from the counting, errors from, as you indicated, misspelling of names, and so on and so forth? So as part of the entire census operation, after the data collection exercise that I indicated that is going to span over the period 28th of June to the 11th of July, just after we finish with that, we embark on what we call a post-enumeration survey. That post-enumeration survey is what we do to ensure that we are able to estimate the extent to which we've moved away from what the reality is on the ground. So at this moment, we are not putting any figure on the table that it's a 5% error, it's a 10% error, or 1%. It depends on the type of error that we're thinking about, and based on the post-enumeration survey that we're going to do, we're going to see the extent to which we've deviated from it, and then see whether there is the need to make some adjustment depending on the perspective of the error that we are dealing with. The second question has to do with publicity, education, and advocacy, and thank you very much for putting that question forward. This is the very reason why we are stepping up our engagement, starts 28th of May 2021, with the President throwing his weight behind the census activity, and as we witnessed and indicated earlier on, the ministry is offering us this platform for us to continuously engage people who have reservations. We do indeed have identified such sects of people with reservations and continuous engagement is being deepened to ensure that they all are part of the census process. One of the things is what I've said today. It is a decennial activity, and we wouldn't want to miss this opportunity where certain sects of people are not counted. That is why we are fronting our message that it is a national activity and it is a non-partisan activity. Honorable, before you come in, I just want to mention to the members of the press that our last slide, as we show on the screen, is the source of our information. Members of the press, we have indicated several times that this is the first digital census that we are seeing in the country. It is not just a matter of using tablets for data collection. All our processes has been digitized. We have electronic pathways for accessing documents. So what you see on the screen is our QR code, the barcode, that once you get access to the soft copies of the presentation, you're going to scan through it and you're going to get access to all the information that you need. Indeed, we have special resources for the media, i.e. a one-pager for the media, which we are going to share a hard copy with you. We've developed a media kit also for the media, which you're going to make available. And for each of you here, a packet is left behind that contains all our census materials. Please, the slogan is "You count, get counted." Thank you, Honorable.
We were almost done, and colleagues, please do give us a wave so that I don't have to wrap up and leave you behind. I'll give you the final word.
Yes. Most often, after the census, if you want to get a copy of the census results, I don't know where you go to. Is it to go to our website, go to Ghana Publishing, whatever, or where do you get it? Because it contains economic, social, agriculture, every information that you need. And as journalists, we need some of these copies so that we can also get information for our work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is the third part of our engagement that remains very important to us. Members of the press, as I indicated, there are two objectives that are anchoring the census in this phase of the exercise, which has to do with complete coverage and accurate data. The third part is what you've asked, the results advocacy around the census, which is very important in terms of accessing the data from the census. Because this is the first digital census, we are being ambitious that we're going to finish with the data collection on the 11th of July, and within 3 months, we should be able to come up with the results from the census. We're going to make the census data available and in different forms to different stakeholders. So the first source of information is our website, which we're going to put all the information there. And beyond that, we're going to do targeted engagement with different stakeholders depending on the needs of the census and make the data available. And the third and final area, which we started already, is the media engagement. As some of you are aware, we've engaged with media persons in the 3 ecological zones of the country, and once the census is done, we're going to engage with media persons again over a period of at least 6 months to walk them through the findings that we are coming up with from the 2021 population and housing census.
Thank you very much, Professor Enim, for that very quick brief. You needed, what, 20 minutes to put it all together for us. Prof, thank you. You may kindly resume your seat. This won't be the last time that Professor Enim is going to be with us. He will be with us a few more times as we get ready for Census Night, which is the 27th of June. 27th of June. 27th of June. 27th of June. Prof, thank you very, very much. Colleagues, this is how we would wrap up on today's briefing. I just noticed a question from one of you, which I think should have come in during our last briefing. The Honorable Minister also gave data on how much was done in the first term of the Akufo-Addo administration. So we pray you that as you report, don't leave out how much was done. If you are talking of 6,000 kilometers in the second term, out of a program 11,000, please mention the 4,000 that was done in the first term, so that that context is created. If you're talking of 25 interchanges, don't forget the first 7 in the first term. And then I think for the number of bridges as well, he gave a red portion of what has been done already. We will circulate a copy of the presentation on the Press Pool platform and also put it on the Ministry of Information's Facebook and other social handles and you can take it up, and please let's use it as some fodder for our public conversations. Thank you. Wish you all the best. We look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for our second brief for the week. Thank you.